Hello, friends, and welcome to Sleep Tight Stories. This story was originally published in Sleep Tight Premium. To listen to more stories like this, all ad-free, please visit sleeptightpremium.com and subscribe. That's sleeptightpremium.com. Thank you. Today's story is a retelling of an old classic. A story of some animals that have reached their prime and set out on a new adventure. The Bremen Town Musicians. There was once a donkey whose master had made him carry sacks to the mill for many a long year, but whose strength began to at last fail, so that each day as it came found him less capable of work. Then his master began to think of turning him out, but the donkey, guessing that something was in the wind that boded no good for him, ran away, taking the road to Bremen. For there, he thought, he might get a job as a town musician. When he had gone a little way, he found a dog lying by the side of the road, panting, as if he had run a long way. "Now, what are you so out of breath about?" said the donkey. "Oh dear," said the dog, "now I am old. I get weaker every day and can do no good in the hunt. So, as my master was going to put me out to pasture, I have made my escape. But now, how am I to earn a living?" "I will tell you what," said the donkey. "I am going to Bremen to become a town musician. You may as well go with me and take up music too. I can play the lute and you can beat the drum." And the dog agreed, and they walked on together. It was not long before they came to a cat sitting in the road, looking as dismal as 3 wet days. "Now then, what is the matter with you, old one?" said the donkey. "I would like to know who would be cheerful when his neck is in danger," answered the cat. "Now that I am old, my teeth are getting blunt, and I would rather sit by the oven and purr than run about after mice, and my owner wanted to get rid of me, so I took myself off. But good advice is scarce, and I do not know what is to become of me." "Go with us to Bremen," said the donkey, "and become a town musician. You understand serenading?" The cat thought it was a great idea and went with them accordingly. After that, the 3 travelers passed by a yard, and a rooster was perched on the gate, crowing with all his might. "Your cries are enough to pierce bone and marrow," said the donkey. "What is the matter?" "I have foretold good weather for the ladies so that all the shirts may be washed and dried. And now on Sunday morning, company is coming, and she has said that I must be let go. So I am crowing with all my might while I can." "You had much better go with us," said the donkey. "We are going to Bremen. At any rate, that will be better than being let go. You have a powerful voice, and when we are all performing together, it will have a very good effect." So the rooster consented, and they went on all four together. But Bremen was too far to be reached in one day, and towards evening they came to a wood where they decided to pass the night. The donkey and the dog lay down under a large tree. The cat got up among the branches, and the rooster flew up to the top, as that was the safest place for him. Before he went to sleep, he looked all round him to the 4 points of the compass and saw in the distance a little light shining. And he called out to his companions that there must be a house not far off, as he could see a light. So the donkey said, "We had better get up and go there, for these are uncomfortable quarters." The dog began to fancy a few bones, not quite bare, would do him good. And they all set off in the direction of the light, and it grew larger and brighter until at last it led them to a robber's house all lit up. The donkey, being the biggest, went up to the window and looked in. "Well, what do you see?" asked the dog. "What do I see?" answered the donkey. "Here is a table set out with splendid eatables and drinkables, and robbers sitting at it and making themselves very comfortable." "That would just suit us," said the rooster. "Yes, indeed, I wish we were there," said the donkey. Then they consulted together how it should be managed so as to get the robbers out of the house, and at last they hit on a plan. The donkey was to place his front feet on the windowsill, the dog was to get on the donkey's back, the cat on top of the dog, and lastly the rooster was to fly up and perch on the cat's head. When that was done, at a given signal, they all began to perform their music. The donkey brayed, the dog barked, the cat meowed, and the rooster crowed. Then they burst through into the room, breaking all the panes of glass. The robbers fled at the dreadful sound. They thought it was some ghost and fled to the woods in the utmost terror. Then the 4 companions sat down to the table, made free with the remains of the meal, and feasted as if they had been hungry for a month. And when they had finished, they put out the lights, and each sought out a sleeping place to suit his nature and habits. The donkey laid himself down outside on the hill, the dog behind the door, the cat on the hearth by the warm ashes, and the rooster settled himself in the loft. And as they were all tired from their long journey, they soon fell fast asleep. When midnight drew near, and the robbers from afar saw that no light was burning, and that everything appeared quiet, their captain said to them that he thought they had run away without reason, telling one of them to go and have a look. So one of them went and found everything quite quiet. He went into the kitchen to strike a light, and taking the glowing, fiery eyes of the cat for burning coals, he held a match to them in order to light it. But the cat, not seeing the joke, flew into his face, spitting and scratching. Then he cried out in terror and ran to get out at the back door. But the dog, who was lying there, ran at him and bit his leg. And as he was rushing through the yard by the hill, the donkey struck out and gave him a great kick with his hind feet. And the rooster, who had been wakened with the noise and felt quite brisk, cried out, "Cock-a-doodle-doo!" Then the robber got back as well as he could to his captain and said, "Oh dear, in that house there is a witch, and I felt her breath and her long nails on my face. And by the door there stands a man who poked me in the leg. And in the yard there lies a ghost who hit me with a wooden club. And above, upon the roof, there sits the justice, who cried, 'Bring that thief here!' And so I ran away from the place as fast as I could." From that time forward, the robbers never ventured to that house, and the 4 Bremen Town Musicians found themselves so well off where they were that is where they stayed. And that is the end of our story. Good night. Sleep tight.
Till we strike soundings in the channel of old England. From Ushan to Scilly is 35 leagues. Oh, the signal was made for the ground fleet to anchor all in the downs. That night for to lay, it's stand by us stoppers, let go, you shank